happy. Hello again YouTube, Mad Dog here, welcome back to my channel. So this video is going to be a tag response video to my friend Tim up in Finland from Kuukkeli Bushcraft. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So the tag video is a 5-knife tag, and basically Tim's asked me to do a tag response along the lines of, what 5 knives that you own make you happy? Now, I mean, how open is that statement or question? I've done a pick of 5 knives that make me happy for different reasons. And this isn't necessarily 5 knives pick because of performance, etc. Just 5 knives that I enjoy to own and for the reasons why. So let's crack on. Okay, so I've brought you back to the bench, and these are my 5 picks for 5 knives that make me happy. And first off, I'm going to pick, this is all random in no particular order. I'll pick this one. And this one is a recent, you might say, acquisition that my good friend Dave Watts has sent me. Now, this is a homemade bushcraft knife that Dave's been making. It uses D1 tool steel as the blade, Makata handles there. And this makes me happy because I have some idea what goes into making and manufacturing a good quality knife. Now, this chap has watched and followed me on YouTube for a while. He has like a cottage industry of, you know, his own made knives. I believe he sells some of these on Etsy.com. And he just went ahead and sent me this. So, a handmade bushcraft knife, like a roach bellied style, heavy duty, full tang, nice brass pins there. Bushcraft knife. Now, I've started using this, or I intend to use this up in the woods, but I have been using this in my yard for preparing wood, you know, feather sticks, cutting cordage, etc. And I've not tested it thoroughly. I am going to be doing a review, as I've promised Dave I will, and I've got a shout out to do as well whilst doing a review on this to some young men that Dave knows all about, 3 young men, and basically he gifted me this, and the workmanship and the hours that goes into making something like this, especially if you're doing it at home with limited resources, you know, it's a fantastic task to undertake, and to just gift that to somebody, I think is admirable and commands respect on its own, irregardless of how the knife or the product performs. So I will treasure this till the day I die, irrespective of how it performs. But up to now, on that footnote, it has performed absolutely perfect and faultless. I've currently got it oiled up because it gets quite damp in here in the garage, and I don't want it to corrode. I like a bit of patina, but I don't want it too deep and pitted. So that's the first knife of the 5 that make me happy. Welcome back. Okay, so second up is this knife. Gorgeous, gorgeous knife. And a beautiful leather sheath. The leather sheath is also by a famous brand by itself, Jack Russell, USA leather. Good quality leather sheath. I take this out of its sheath, and you can see quite a famous style of knife here. So this knife is made by Jeff White. As you can see, it's a forged knife, and I believe this one is done in the style of the traditional French tradesman's knife, arcing back from the days of the early pioneers, etc. It's got striped maple scales with brass pins down to a Scandi-ish grind there. Absolutely razor sharp, as is the previous knife that I forgot to mention, Dave Watts knife. Absolutely scary sharp, brilliant. Yeah, this knife, the Jeff White knife, I believe these are the basis of what has now become the Pathfinder knife. The Pathfinder knife is it Skull, whatever, you know, Dave Canterbury and his crew. I think he employed or partnered up with Jeff White to produce their own brand of knives. So fantastic forged knife. I love anything that's old-fashioned. I love anything that's historic, that still functions perfectly today, and these do. I believe the origins of this style of knife go back to the days of basically butchery. These are just butchers' knives, or were, that were taken and used by outdoorsmen and women, men in them days, to be accurate, and used as their survival stroke bushcraft belt knives. I won't really say bushcraft, it wasn't classed as that in them days. It was getting out there and getting it done, you know, pioneering. I'll be honest, and I say things as they are. So yeah, and this was gifted to me by my brother Redneck Renegade across the pond. What a fantastic gift. And again, you'll notice a pattern here. I haven't even used this knife. I've cut cordage with it. I made a feather stick, I believe, or processed some fat wood once with it. I don't want to damage this knife and overuse it. I will use it, but I'm not going to use it in excess all the time, because for me this is treasure, because it's come from a friend. The same is true with Dave Watts's knife. I will use it because he wants feedback how his knives perform. I will use it, but I won't abuse it, but I will treasure them. I'll treasure all of these that I'm showing you right now. So another knife that makes me very happy, from a good friend and brother, Redneck Renegade, across the pond there. Beautiful knife. I'll move quickly on to knife number 3. Knife that makes me happy. All of my knives make me happy, to be honest. There is no easy answer to this, but we'll carry on. And that will be this one. So this is more what I call a decorative collector's piece. It comes in a nice thick stamped leather sheath, and this is basically done in the style of Damascus steel. I believe it's a high carbon steel that's been etched to look like Damascus steel. It has got layered scales, different woods. It's got a bone insert there and brass collars. It's a rat tail tang, and it's a lovely piece. I actually wear this, as it were, or display this under my TV unit in the house, just as a collector's piece. I would never use it properly in the field because I don't believe it would be appropriate to do so. And this was also a present to me from my wife. So I'm going to keep this and treasure it forever. It is sharp, and it probably would serve its purpose. I wouldn't want to beat the hell out of it because of the rat tail tang, and the graining on the wood is quite open, so will probably cause it damage and to split. So I would use it sensibly, you know, as a slicer and dicer, not as anything I'm going to batten, etc. But that being said, for me this is just a pure keepsake and present off my wife, who I love very much, so special to me. So again, another knife that makes me happy, and that's the simple reason why. Excellent. And fourth is this knife. I like this knife and it makes me happy for completely different reasons, quite the opposite to the first three. So this is the BPS B1, which is a sort of a nod or a homage to the bush law style of knife. It's a stainless steel knife. It's only a thin stock knife compared to the others. It has a Scandi grind, black walnut scales and brass pins to the handles. It comes in a very well made dangler leather sheath, which, to be honest, I feel that this sheath is worth the money of them both together, in my opinion. This at the time was around £20, just less than £20. Comes from the Ukraine, BPS knives. and I've had this well over a year, and I've beat the living bejesus out of it. Yes, I've stropped it and rehoned it somewhat, but it's absolutely taken everything that I've thrown at it, and it's performed really, really well for a budget cheap knife. So if you want something that is a bit different to the Moras, you know, lose the plastic handles and just own something that's a bit more traditional and a homage to the classic, you might say, bushcraft style of knife, then BPS do a range of knives that, in my opinion, for the price point, are hard to beat. Now, I'm not saying they're the best bushcraft knife out there. You get what you pay for. You know, I dare say the Jeff White knife is 100 times more capable than this. I don't know, I've not proven that, I've not tried it, but that's a damn sight more expensive to buy than one of these. So you get what you pay for, but because of that, I'm not frightened of using it. I'm not frightened of beating the you-know-what out of it. And, you know, for less than 20 quid, go and have some fun. So that makes me happy. It makes me smile every time I use this, just on price point and the fact that it works really well. So BPS, I doff my cap to you. You've produced something that's affordable, attainable by most people, and it does the job. So well done, you guys and lasses. So that would be my pick, number 4. So my final pick for this 5 knife tag video response is going to be this, and this is my Victorinox Swiss Army knife SAK. I believe this is the camper or the hiker model, something like that. I can't quite remember now. And the reason this makes me happy is because, firstly, it's UK legal carry, this particular model. The blade is less than 3 inches and non-locking. However, that being said, its retaining method is relatively good, so it doesn't fold onto your fingers and slices your fingers open as a lot of non-locking knives do. The other reasons are because this particular model has the larger blade and the smaller blade. It is quite versatile in the fact that I can do close-up intricate stuff with the small blade. More utilitarian blade there for around the camp tasks. And the party piece for me is the saw. It has a very effective small saw, which is brilliant for doing small work if you're doing any notching or anything along those lines. It also has on the back a very effective awl for boring holes, and it can also be used for emergency bit of rough ass sewing there or stitching in case you need to do any repairs, etc. Now for me, and just speaking from my experience, if I throw one of these in my pocket, I do feel quite confident that there isn't much in the field that I can't achieve with this. So without going into the battening argument, I'm not getting involved in all that, I think any tool should be used within its parameters. I wouldn't batten per se with this type of knife. I know you see people doing it folded at 90 degrees and all that. Use the saw. Why do you need to batten in a survival situation in the first place, I would argue? Is it to prepare firewood? Well, once you've got your fire established with your small pocket knife, which you can do if you know how to do it, then you drag the larger wood across the fire and let the fire burn that wood into pieces itself. In a survival situation, shelter building, you don't need to cut wood. You snap wood, use the withe of a tree, or if you're making a lean-to debris shelter, you don't need to carve it like a carpenter would. It's an emergency, get you out of the you-know-what situation. So you don't need, in my opinion, in a survival situation, to batten. So I know that's a whole subjective argument and debate on its own. We'll probably cover that again another time. But this makes me happy in the fact that around the camp tasks, let's say, there isn't many tasks that this won't perform within its capability. So whether that be cutting cordage, making simple D or 7 notches for traps, or any sort of structure really that that you want to do around camp, this will get it done. And like I say, I can chuck this in my pocket, not worry about PC Plod stopping and searching me, because I'm within the UK legal parameters with this. So that would be my 5th pick of knives that make me happy. Again, thank you very much, Tim, for tagging me in on this video. I'm going to tag 2 other people now to carry this tag on, should they want to do them. So I'm going to choose Jason Lebry over in New Zealand. So if you're watching, brother, if you want to have a go at this, show us your 5 knives that make you happy. And my second choice, I'm going to throw out there just my brother across the pond, Redneck Renegade. He knows I think the world of him, so I'm counting you in as well, brother. If you find time and you want to do this little tag, the 5 knife tag that makes you happy, please show us your 5 picks too. So I'm calling it at that. I've rambled on way too long, like I always do. But I like to give people the respect and time when I've been tagged in and someone's thought of me enough to tag me in. I like to do the best job that I can in response. So that wraps it up for me for now. One last note before I go, my next video will be, I've got a small giveaway announcement to make, so stay tuned for that. And until next time, which won't be long, thank you all very much. Mad Dog signing off. Yeah!